This is my honest opinion of all of the recent news that has come out in regards to Destiny 2. We're talking about Frontiers, all of the recent blog articles, and Bungie announcing the next decade for Destiny. And my opinions might actually surprise a lot of you out there, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. The reason why I mentioned that it might surprise you is because I've seen a lot of criticism of all the recent blog articles that have come out and all of the recent announcements, because a lot of different content creators and people that have been in this game for a long time are saying it's a little bit underwhelming and maybe it doesn't move the needle enough and get the players excited for the future of Destiny. And I can't argue with that because that's a personal opinion. You know, it's subjective to each and every individual out there. If you read through all of this and you weren't excited at all about any of it, then that's perfectly fine, like if that's the way you feel. But I myself personally felt like everything that was delivered is kind of what I was expecting and is kind of a good thing overall, because this just means that the game you've already invested a lot of time in is going to continue to get regular updates, regular new content, new stories coming to the game, new exotics, new loot, and new challenging activities. Overall, I do think that this is probably one of the right directions that Bungie needs to go. I know a lot of you out there are probably shaking your fists in some ways saying, you know, we wanted Destiny 3 and stuff like that, but I don't think that was ever in the works at all. And I honestly think that, I've said this many times, and I'm not going to get into a big Destiny 3 debate. I think that a lot of people don't really want Destiny 3 because Destiny 3 would mean you'd have to lose everything that you've spent the last 6+ years grinding for in Destiny 2. But we'll put that on the side table, put that on the back burner for now, and we'll talk about these big topics that Bungie has just dropped. Codename Frontiers, we're getting 2 mid-sized expansions. This should hopefully alleviate some of the drought that comes throughout the year. There are some positives to that. Now, it may not be as awesome as that like one big massive drop that we get where there's just so much to do for like an entire month, but as you can see with the final shape, when you drop so much at one point in time, then it tends to age a little more like milk. Right now we're seeing extremely low population inside Destiny 2. And so I think that Bungie might be actually trying to combat that in some ways with this new format that they're doing here. And so I'm not entirely opposed against any of this. We're still getting all the same stuff that we've been enjoying as Destiny players. And so if you see this and you're just repulsed and you're like, oh, this is trash, this is not exciting, well, my opinion is that you're just not into Destiny 2 anymore. You might just be a little too burnt out, you know, and that's totally okay. Playing the same game or playing a similar game for however many years you played it, maybe 10 like myself, maybe for thousands of hours like myself, can definitely lead to some burnout. But Destiny 2, continuing the way it is right here, is probably the best path forward overall, because this is exactly what we've been getting for so many years, and we always want more of that, but just in new and exciting different ways. Of course, new stories, new adventures, new weapons, new missions, new challenges. I think that this is exactly what we should expect from Destiny 2. I don't really know what anyone else was expecting. Feel free to comment down below if you're like, this is what I wanted. I wanted some type of new raid, you know, 20-person raid. I don't even know what you're expecting. A battle royale? Like, I don't know what you're expecting Bungie to announce with Codename Frontiers, but myself personally, after playing this game for so long and covering content news on it, this was what I was expecting. I thought this was good news overall. Like, I felt like this was adequate. This was 8 out of 10 for me. I wasn't disappointed by Codename Frontiers. Now, moving on to the next part, they talk about the core gameplay and how it's changing, how you're going to have different modifiers you can add to it, different difficulties you can add to it. This is, again, expanding on what is already currently existing in Destiny 2, where you have Nightfall Strikes. And then now we have different difficulty levels. There's currently like 4 different difficulty levels. Well, now in the future, there's going to be, look, we've got 6 here, and you can add all these different modifiers. There's basically going to be tons and tons of variations, and adds significantly more depth and difficulty to the existing game as it is right now. And then any future activity that comes out will just be that much more exciting and interesting. Like, hey, this new activity coming out, I wonder what it'll be like on Master 1. I wonder what it'll be like with that modifier. I wonder if someone will be able to beat it with these crazy modifiers, or people that want to challenge themselves, maybe be able to solo it with all the most difficult modifiers on. That all seems very exciting to me, and it seems exactly the direction that Bungie and Destiny 2 probably should go. I mean, taking the existing game as it is and creating more depth to the things that have already been very successful. I mean, I don't know exactly what other direction they could go with some of this stuff. Like I said, we already know what is good for Destiny. Like, strikes are very good. Strikes keep the player base healthy. A lot of people come back doing strikes. strikes can have excellent replayability. We can inject them with really good loot, and then obviously we can introduce new strikes, which is really something that Bungie should focus on. And I would have been very excited if Bungie was like, we're coming out with a new strike every month for the next year, 1 month, one strike every month. I don't know, anything, you know, like new content is always what we're most excited for. But that's not always the case for Destiny 2. Sometimes we need to have experienced some of the old things, but maybe in a new light, and it can be fun, can be exciting in some ways. Now, there is a level of insanity when it comes to doing your, you know, 400th clear of the Glassway GM, but now it's called Master 1, and it has some crazy rules and stuff. So, but that is, again, that's a big part of just being burnt out and just playing one thing so much that you're just like, it's just never gonna make you happy anymore, you know? And that's fine, but that's just a problem with Destiny 2 and it being around for so long, and a lot of people kind of just like pouring so much time into this game, and I'm guilty of doing that. I just have poured so much time that I just got completely burnt out. A lot of you know this. I used to play Trials a ton. I used to do Trials carries. I was waking up early on Friday, no matter where. I was always playing Trials 12 hours, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And then I just got really burnt out on it, you know? And now I just you won't even find me in that playlist anymore, right? And it's been like that for well over a year, maybe even 2 years now. I haven't even stepped into Trials, which is crazy considering that I spent like 8 years like living in that playlist, basically. I just got burnt out, so I just stepped aside from it. Now when I go back into Trials, I do have a little bit of fun. I maybe clear like one card and then I just put it on the back burner again. I'm just not interested in that, you know? And I recommend a lot of you out there to do a similar thing when you do get burnt out in Destiny 2, because, you know, you're going to be playing the Glassway again if you haven't already beaten the Glassway GM enough times. Now you're going to have to do it on Master 1 with some crazy rules, gameplay, enemy power, etc. But at least the new activities will be giving you new and more powerful rewards. Now, it might seem a little like, is this really that much more powerful, Lucky? Like, do you really think that you want to invest your time in doing a, you know, Master 1 Glassway with the craziest modifiers just to get whatever the heck Swordy tier 5 is? The answer is yes. I mean, that is what Destiny 2 is. Destiny 2 is doing extremely challenging activities, the most challenging you can, and being given the most rewarding loot for doing so. That's the video game. Like, that's the trick, you know? And so doing the most difficult modifiers on an activity and getting loot to match that is cool, in my opinion. And the fact that they're kind of leaning away from the whole crafted thing, which was basically just a huge time sink, and going back to the sort of RNG element of it, which kind of got everyone addicted to Destiny 2 and kind of fell in love with that side of it, is definitely cool. I know that it should have its limitations, because like complete RNG is a little bit ridiculous. If some of you know this from doing raids, where you like do the raid for like 3 months and never even get the exotic, or grind a certain activity 100+ times and never get the exact god roll you're looking for, right? So there should be some limitations to it, not too much, but just RNG to every activity. But I am a big believer in getting loot like this from doing the most challenging activities in the game. So I actually thought that this was good news that Bungie announced with this, and I'm looking forward to it. And obviously, where else can the game go other than this? I mean, they could, instead of having you know, I guess it has kill clip and threat detector on it, you could, instead of having outlaw on this weapon, you could have double damage perks. But it's like, where else does it go other than this? I would be curious to know what you think down in the comments below. The last bit, of course, is a small one, which is just this new portal thing. They're just trying to expedite the game, so that way when you're new and you hop in, you can just like click like, hey, I just want to do a really quick solo op, you know? And that's like meant to be like a fast activity. That way you can jump in the game, get some loot, you know, get things started. You don't have to sit and worry, maybe spec out into your builds and stuff like that, or worry about what weapons you have on and stuff of that nature. And then, of course, you know, after you've done that, maybe get your friends come online, you can jump into fire team ops with them. And then after that, you can jump into pinnacle ops. You want to do some really challenging stuff. Maybe you're done with the challenging stuff. Maybe you want to jump into some Crucible, or you can jump into specialty event. I think that this is a good way of just expediting the overall process and making Destiny 2 a little more simple, a little more appealing to new people. So overall, I think that this is good, but I don't think anyone really had too big of a problem with this. I think a lot of people saw the weapon here and they're like, wow, this isn't that crazy. This is like just the same stuff we've had for the last few years. And obviously it's incrementally getting more powerful. That's an issue of power creep. We can't have the game be too ridiculously overpowered. We can't have triple damage perks and a damage origin trait, damage magazine, damage barrel, damage mod on it, damage, extra damage frame. Like, it just, you know, there has to be, power creep has to be maintained to some degree. But my overall opinion after everything that was announced was what I was expecting, and I rated it an 8 out of 10. That's where I stand. Let me know where you rate it down in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed. Smash the like button. See you in the next one. Later.